1. If pre-baby Maria Blanchard could have seen her post-baby self now, she'd have been horrified. Gone were her carefully dyed and pampered platinum blonde locks and perfectly applied makeup, her designer clothes and slick, sophisticated demeanor. In their place was long ombre effect brown hair. Well, more like missing a few color appointments until your natural color grew out effect hair. Minimal makeup, and by minimal she meant mascara only. And a top and pants she'd bought online during a late-night breastfeeding session. At least the color of her top was nice, a sort of teal green that brought out the gold in her eyes. And the fit hid the last of the weight she'd gained during her pregnancy, that never seemed to go away, no matter how much she dieted and exercised. Yep, things were definitely different, but she wouldn't change it for the world. She checked her watch, then walked into the living room to grab her phone. Tonight, she was going on a date, for the first time since her 3-month-old daughter Camille had been born. A mix of excitement and nervousness swirled in her stomach. John was an attorney who worked in the law firm down the street from the offices she rented for her PI business. She'd been pleased when he had asked her out. Finally, after months of casual hellos and conversations as they'd waited in line at the deli between their workplaces. He was smart, funny, and seemed like a genuinely nice person. And yeah, maybe he wasn't heart-stoppingly gorgeous. She'd been with a man like that before, and look what that had gotten her. The child of her dreams. That's what. Now she wanted stable, kind, safe. Those things were best for Camille's future. Best for Maria's future, too. She'd gotten exactly what she'd wanted out of her affair with Trevor. No sense reconsidering her choices now. Even if he had offered her more then, she would have turned him down. Besides, she and Trevor Daniels had had a deal. A contract. He had given her a baby, and she had given him his freedom. They'd both fulfilled their parts. End of story. Maria searched through the clean onesies piled on the couch in search of her phone. It had to be here somewhere. The babysitter she'd hired should have been here by now, and she was going to be late meeting John, if she didn't leave soon. Thankfully, Camille was fully fed and sound asleep in her crib, so that one less thing to worry about. Near the bottom of a stack of pink and yellow cotton outfits, she found her phone and pulled it out, clicking on it only to see her screen flooded with text messages from Cindy, her office assistant, whose daughter was supposed to be babysitting Camille tonight. Apparently, Cindy's daughter had come down with the flu and wouldn't be able to make it. Maria didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Part of her was disappointed that she'd missed out on some adult conversation and food she didn't cook herself for a change. But another part of her was guiltily relieved that she could stay home and just rest, not have to put on her best manners and her prettiest smile because of a man she may or may not want to take things further with. With a sigh, she flopped down against the fluffy cloud of onesies, the scent of fabric softener wafting around her, and called John to let him know the news. Of course, he was nice as could be about it, which made her feel even worse for being such a slug about her socializing. Back in high school, she had been Little Miss Popular, the girl everybody knew and liked. These days, she was Camille's mom. Period. Of course, her daughter wasn't the sole focus of her life. She had her career, and she loved her work as a private investigator. But when it came to social interaction, there really was no one she'd rather be with at any given moment than her baby. Motherhood was everything she'd hoped it would be, and more. A lot more. An occasionally exhausting amount of more. After ending the call, Maria stared up at the ceiling, the sounds of some reality show on TV droning low in the background as she contemplated her choices for the night. She could do the responsible thing and fold all the onesies and put them away before washing her face, changing her clothes, and going to bed at a decent hour. She could lie there amongst the laundry and fall asleep in her makeup and clothes. Or she could leave the onesies, make a sandwich, watch a movie, maybe actually read a book again. Ugh. At 31, she'd figured life would be more exciting than this, even with a kid. Then her stomach growled and made the decision for her. Sandwich it was. She just started to sit up when a knock at the door derailed her plans. Her pulse quickened and her muscles tensed. Her date was canceled. So was her babysitter. So who could it be? Being a private investigator meant she made a living out of exposing the secrets of people who didn't necessarily want to be exposed. As a result, she took her safety very seriously. Her home address was as off the record as she could make it, and anyone who knew her knew better than to drop by unannounced. Maria stared at the front door as a second knock came. She wasn't expecting anyone else that night. Whoever it was, they were persistent too. Her gaze flicked over to the locked drawer in her desk, where she kept her Glock. While there wasn't anyone she could think of as being a threat at the moment, being a woman in her line of work was to live with the constant fear of revenge. Slowly, Maria edged toward the front door, praying that the knocking didn't wake up Camille. The last thing she wanted was to clue in whoever was on her doorstep that she had an infant in here. Risking her own life on a daily basis was one thing. Risking the life of her child was something else entirely. She hugged the wall and lifted the edge of the curtain, covering the window closest to the door, hoping for a chance to ID her unexpected guest. As she peered out into the shadows, Maria saw the last person on earth she ever expected to see again. With a curse, she unbolted and unchained the door, then whipped it open, lowering her voice to a harsh whisper.
Trevor Daniels, what the hell are you doing here?